Hi, this is Tim Bost with FinancialCyclesWeekly.com, and I hope you have been following the stock for DuPont, Demers and Company. Some exciting things have been going on there. This has had a very, very strong performance, and we want to pay attention today to the astrology behind that and exactly why DuPont has been turning in the strong performance that we've seen here in the last couple of months and in recent weeks in particular. With DuPont, we have the stock hitting 52-week highs. It has performed very, very strongly. Of course, we've had a big rally going on in the stock market as a whole, but DuPont has really outperformed a lot of other companies, and as one of the Dow stocks, it's helping to bring the whole market average up. We've seen a gain of over 72% in the past year, which is really quite phenomenal. Along the way, the company still has a dividend yield of 4.3%, very respectable there, and a PEG ratio which is under 1.0, which makes it a bargain. PEG ratio last time I checked was 0.9, so this is definitely a very solid company to invest in, has been for some time. But what we're really concerned about is all the astrological action that's going on, and that's what's really behind the picture here. As an astro trader, that's what I'm most interested in, and it's what we wanted to take a look at today. Here is the price chart for DuPont. We have Neptune lines and Mars lines. The Mars lines are the red curvy lines. The Neptune lines are the gray horizontal ones in this particular chart. And we note that DuPont very recently has, based on, found nice support on a Neptune line and continues to move up. And historically, Neptune has been a very strong factor for DuPont, but we're getting some excellent action with that right now, just as we look at the price formation and the planetary price lines. In addition to that, we wanted to examine what's going on with the first trade horoscope for DuPont, because a lot of the story is revealed there. This inner ring is the first trade chart for DuPont, which began traded back in 1922. The outer planets in the outer ring here are the current planetary positions for mid-April 2010, and we can see some of the alignments that are impacting this stock. The first thing that jumps out at us is Mars over here on the left side, which has recently crossed the ascendant in the first trade horoscope. This is something that only happens once every 2 years roughly, and when Mars crosses the ascendant in the chart, it typically will juice the price of the stock somewhat. We'll see a rising price trend. That's certainly been the case this time at least. In addition to that, we find transiting Venus lining up with the natal moon, the first trade moon in the chart for DuPont. This is an annual event, but when it happens, there's a nice rise in popularity of the company and the stock. It's a very good kind of dynamic to have going on to improve the perception of what's going on with the company. Now, from a longer term perspective, what's interesting here is that we have transiting Saturn lining up with the first trade Saturn in the chart. This is a slow moving cycle. It takes about 30 years for this to move into position, and because Saturn moves slowly and has retrograde motion, it will go in and out of phase. So this has happened late last year in November, and then just here at the end of March, it lined up. Saturn has gone retrograde right now. It will come back and make another pass over this point about the 1st of August in 2010. And as it goes through this series, what it does is provide an opportunity for restructuring and the company finding a much more solid foundation. And what's interesting to me is that we're seeing the stock moving up sharply through this period of the Saturn return, which suggests that DuPont is really ready to move to a higher octave for the long run, and we could expect to see even higher prices ahead for this stock because of its performance during this kind of dynamic with Saturn, which under other circumstances might appear to be a negative indicator. In addition to that, we have Jupiter over here on the right side at about 20 degrees of Pisces right now. What's interesting to me is that Jupiter is moving toward the midheaven in the horoscope, the first trade horoscope for DuPont. Jupiter tends to expand things when it hits the midheaven like this once every 12 years. It is a very positive kind of dynamic. This will make that contact on around April 20th, 2011. So between now and then, we would expect the general general underlying trend for the stock to be an upward one. Once it passes the midheaven, we may see prices start to pull back somewhat, but this suggests that there's a good longer range prospect for this company as well. And in fact, when we talk about DuPont, we can really talk about long range prospects, because this is a company that's been around for over 200 years, and as I say, the stock has been traded since 1922. And what we have done in volume 1 of the Astro-Traders Library is give a very detailed analysis of the history of DuPont, going back to the company's inception, and looked at the various horoscopes that establish the trading patterns and give us the reliable indicators that we can use to trade this stock or to invest in it for longer term cycles as well. And in fact, this reveals the detailed information that you need not only to trade the stock today, but to outline trading strategies and plans for the next 10 or 12 years. We really examine the cycles from a longer term perspective, and so we can see what's going on with that. You'll find full information about this at financialcyclesweekly.com at this URL that you see here, financialcyclesweekly.com/public/861.cfm. And this is Tim Bost with financialcyclesweekly.com. Thanks so much for taking a look.